did not get a notebook yet, also, you should get a Bible and a catechism. Did we do that? Somebody, those of you just came in, did you guys do it?
No, we didn't.
We have it back there. Yeah, Bible and catechism. Can we get two?
Two each.
All right. I think we might need a few then.
A few?
Yeah, a couple more up here.
We are now fresh out.
Okay.
I said no more converts.
All right. Well, thank you guys. So leading up to tonight, I asked you guys in the syllabus there to read the Gospel of Mark. And there's 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And they're all telling the same story, but from slightly different angles or from different purposes, different audiences. And Mark is a great one to read in one sitting or in one short time. So I think it's fitting for you guys in the week. Hopefully you're able to get through it. So I just want to make a few points about Mark and then just look at the life of Christ and what it means. So that's what tonight's about. We'll do our usual about 45 minutes and then break, do questions at the end as well. So Mark, the first thing to know about Mark is that he's a disciple of the Apostle Peter. So he wasn't an apostle himself, yet he learned from the school of Peter. He also, his gospel is written to Gentiles, that is non-Jews, in the city of Rome. And so we see things like him explaining Jewish customs or translating Aramaic for those people to understand who wouldn't have understood it otherwise. Also, a significant fact about the book is that almost half of the 16 chapters is about the Paschal mystery, which is the suffering, the death, the resurrection, and the ascension of Christ, which I'm going to talk about mostly tonight. And when we look at it, we see when Jesus does things, the response of the people is often they're confused, they doubt him, and they mock him. But in the midst of all these responses, there's these 2 other responses. About halfway through, we have this response of the Apostle Peter. And he says to Jesus, thanks, Al, this great confession. He says to Jesus, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. So we see belief in Peter. And then, again, at the end of Mark's Gospel, we have the centurion who's the lead Roman soldier. And after watching Jesus die, he says, truly this man was the Son of God. So these 2 high points of belief, these 2 confessions. And when we look at Jesus' life, we see his works, the things he does. He heals people, he performs miracles, and he also teaches. And the point of all of this is to inspire a response of faith, of hope, and of love. And so the author puts in a lot of rhetorical questions along the way to make you say these questions to yourself and ask, looking for the response. For example, Jesus is teaching and somebody says, what is this, a new teaching? Or Jesus calms the storm and they say, who is this, that even the wind and the sea obey? Or Jesus says, your sins are forgiven. And they say, who can forgive sins but God alone? Or finally, when he asks Peter, who do you say? He says, you are the Christ. So we have these 2 themes in Mark. We have Jesus' secret. Maybe you noticed that when you're reading it, that Jesus would heal somebody, he would do a miracle, and then say, don't tell anybody about this. Don't tell anybody. And so at first it might stick out as kind of odd, but the purpose is that so people don't misunderstand what he's doing. He's not there to be an earthly or political or military leader. Rather, he's coming as the Messiah who is a suffering servant. And this is how he will reveal the kingdom. The other theme is the sonship. The goal of St. Mark's Gospel is that we recognize the divine sonship of Jesus. So Mark opens up, chapter 1, verse 1, saying that Jesus is the Son of God. And even the demons know it. We see this in some of the stories. And God himself proclaims it at Jesus' baptism, and then later at the transfiguration, when he's transfigured up on the mount. Jesus himself says it in no uncertain terms before his death. And, of course, I just mentioned the climax of the centurion when he says, truly this was the Son of God. So this is what Mark's trying to get across to us. So we could read the gospel or look at the life of Jesus and say, well, who is Jesus? What are we to do with him? What are we to make of him? And a lot of people, common response is that, well, he's a good guy. He's a really good teacher. He did a lot of, he did some moral teaching. He, did social reform, and so he's a good man, and that's about it. This is impossible. It's not possible that Jesus was just a good man. Either, when we look at his claims, there's three possibilities when we look at his claims. He claims a lot of things. We could say he's lying and he knows it, or he's lying and maybe he doesn't know it, or he's telling the truth. So, here's the type of things that he's saying. He's saying that he's sent by God. He's saying he's doing God's work. He's even claiming to be God. So, if he's lying, then he's certainly not a good teacher. There's no good morality there. Now, if he thinks that he's the Messiah, if he thinks he's the chosen one sent by God, and he doesn't know that he's lying, he's crazy. He's a lunatic. And this is far from being a good teacher. This is the worst possible teacher. There's no reason we should listen to him or trust him. So is he a liar? Is he a lunatic? Or finally, the third option is that he is the Lord, as he claims to be. So he makes claims verbally, but he also backs it up with the things that he does. He performs miracles. He does these things, these incredible things, and sometimes people say, well, if God did a miracle, I would believe. Or if I saw this, then I would believe. But there are people who witnessed Jesus' miracles who did not believe, and had even harsher responses. For example, Jesus raised a man from the dead, Lazarus, and the people plotted to kill him because they were angry. So Jesus performs miracles to help us believe, but it didn't automatically result in belief for those who saw him. And finally, the greatest sign that Jesus performs, the greatest backing of his claims, is the resurrection. After Jesus dies, he shows that he's the Lord of life. He's the Son of God by raising from the dead. So that's what it's all about. Okay. Is anybody here a chicken farmer? Yeah, you didn't see that one coming. Actually, I did have a chicken farmer in my RCIA class last year, so it's possible. But there's a little story I'd like to tell you, that there was a storm coming in the chicken farm, big storm, and think Midwest. Is anybody here from the Midwest? Dorothy and, the tornadoes? Okay, so maybe. So the tornado's coming in, chicken farm runs out, and all the chickens are spread out all over the place, so he's got to get them in the coop. So he's running out there, he's chasing around, they're scattered all over the place, not listening, he's pointing, and that's not working. He tries to pick one up, it doesn't work. So eventually he thinks, man, if I could just become a chicken and then lead them into the coop, they would follow me. Okay, this is where God got the idea for the incarnation. So this is where our salvation